I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
They're back! Jones! Hightower! Hooks!
Don't move your back!
Tackleberry!
Sorry, sir.
House! Harris! And Commandant Lassard! Police Academy 5! Assignment Miami Beach!
Hello, Doc!
For more fun and guns under the sun!
Leave the swimming area now, mister!
Rated PG. Starts Friday, March 18th at a theater near you.
We've gotten to that point. There are different groups of people for Police Academy. And by the way, this is another request for Johnny, who got one of the higher tiers on my Patreon, thus getting quite a few reviews. If anyone's ever interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, review, movie topic, whatever, you can either join me on my Patreon or send a request directly via my PayPal. Both links will be down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you. Now I gotta think about this movie. I was saying, there's groups of people with Police Academy. There's people who don't like any of them. Not even the first one. They don't get why people like them. They think it's not for them. It's such dick, piece of shit, that type of thing. There are groups of people that only like the first one, maybe the second one. There are people who like all of them. I don't know any, but I'm sure there are, including the seventh one, which is the worst. And then there's people like me that when the Goot, Steve Guttenberg, when even he doesn't come back, you know your movie is shit. You know what? I can't even say that because he did not come back for Short Circuit 2, and Short Circuit 2 is, to me, a great sequel. Short Circuit 2 is a worthy sequel. Short Circuit 2, I love it as much as the first one. In fact, there's probably certain aspects that work better compared to the first one. Short Circuit 2 is great. And that's a sequel Steve Guttenberg didn't come back from. But here, I enjoy the first 4 Police Academy films. You want to hear why? Feel free to go back, watch those reviews, or watch it for the first time, whatever. But from here on, 5 and 6 and 7, you don't have Steve Guttenberg coming back. Either because he said, no, come on, we're stretching it. It's a bit too thin. We're at part 5 now. We're going to Miami Beach. It's a bit too thin, man. Also, this is around the same time he got 3 Men and a Baby. Because 3 Men and a Baby, I think, came out November or so of 87. This came out like March of 88. Which means at some point both productions probably or happen at the same time. That, or one might have caused a delay in the other, but it could just simply for the fact of, hey, I'd rather concentrate on other stuff like 3 Men and a Baby, which was the better choice, because I love 3 Men and a Baby. It deserves a Blu-ray in the U.S. It's one of my favorite comedies, directed by Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy, Tom Selleck, and Ted Danson. Love 3 Men and a Baby. So much better compared to this. If people forget, 3 Men and a Baby, when it came out, it was like the biggest hit of the 1987. Yeah, it doesn't have a Blu-ray. Fuck if I know why. You see, I'm talking for like 4 minutes. I haven't talked about the movie. Because not only do you not have Steve Guttenberg, you don't have Bobcat Goldthwait. Some trivia said because they would not pay him the money he wanted. They should have. Then some piece of trivia, whether it's true or not, but I could buy it. They didn't get the other guy who's with Bobcat Goldthwait in the previous films. They were like a team, Tim Kazurinsky. Just like, well, we don't have Bobcat, we don't need that guy, which, stupid. That's kind of stupid rationale. He could be utilized in other ways. You don't have Brian Tochi back. So, no Bobcat Goldthwait, no Kazurinsky, no Brian Tochi, no Goot, Steve Guttenberg, the Goot. Not even characters from the previous ones. Like the one guy that was only... There's like 2 people that were only in the first movie. You didn't bring any of them. Like, and then you get to the plot. Really, do you really care about plot in Police Academy films? I understand. But the gags just seem less funny. The gags seem even more tired. I mean, when you get to part 5... Most comedy franchises don't lead to a part 5. I mean, if you're talking about movies that have a certain character, you know, there's multiple Ernest with Jim Varney movies, or there were multiple Three Stooges, and Marx Brothers. I'm talking about actual, like, a sequel. Here's part 1, part 2, part 3. It's not like Abbott Costello made 7 Buck Privates. It's not like... You did Ernest Goes to Jail Part 2, Ernest Goes to Jail Part 3, Ernest Goes to Jail Part 4. So to me, that's kind of a different animal. Here, it's tough to stretch that to 5, let alone 7, which I'll get to that more in the next couple reviews. And so the gags just felt tired, and it felt cheaper. I don't know why. It felt cheaper compared to the first 4. Well, I'm surprised it's a film that went into theaters. For some reason, it screams like a movie that would go straight to video. Like, if this was made... I don't know how else to describe it. And the plot... George Gaines, he comes back as Commandant Lassard. He's due for mandatory retirement. Thanks to G.W. Bailey and the other guy, Proctor, Harrison Proctor, putting their nose in people's businesses that they shouldn't, because he wants to be Commandant. So hey, Lassard, mandatory retirement, but then there's a celebration, and one of the guys goes, okay, you gotta retire, but in Miami, there is a police chiefs convention at Miami Beach, and you're going to be the officer of the decade, whether that's a fucking thing or not, whatever. It's Police Academy 5, right? And Lassard is supposed to go down there, and he brings together some of his folks, his recruits, his other fellow policemen and women. So you have Bubba Smith coming back, you have Michael Winslow coming back, you got David Graff as Tackleberry coming back, Leslie Easterbrook, Marion Ramsey, and then I forget the guy's name, the big guy that was in part 4, Citizens on Patrol. He's like the big guy. I forget the actor's name. And they spent a lot more time with Lessard, and granted, on one hand, I like the actor, but there's not much to the character. That's why in previous films he's given just small snippets. Pretty much it's just, oh, he accidentally is dropping golf balls and people are slipping on them. He hits a golf ball, it bounces off and hits someone. But to give him a bigger role, but then not really do much of anything interesting gag-wise, let alone character-wise, it just, in my opinion, it was the wrong decision, in my opinion. They bring in Matt McCoy, which I don't mind him as an actor. I reviewed a film he was in the 2000s called Abominable. Matt McCoy was the star of that. He was really good. He was in Deep Star 6, which I don't mind for what it is. But you did not need that character. He plays the nephew of Commandant Lessard. And you could tell some of the stuff he was doing is stuff they would have just had Steve Guttenberg doing. You didn't need him. Why did you need him? If that's the case and Steve Guttenberg's going to go, why don't you bring Michael Winslow to be the star? I mean, I think of all the candidates, Bubba Smith, he doesn't do a lot of talking, he's more for physical gags. David Graff, rest in peace, he was great as Tackleberry. But I would choose Michael Winslow. Just let him be the lead. And let the focus be on him, and him be how Steve Guttenberg became the main hero. And at the end of the previous films, let Michael Winslow take that place. I mean, he's done pranks with the help of Guttenberg and some of them, whether it be the that stuff. And maybe now you can give him a bit more to do, a little bit more freedom to explore. I don't want to say explore more of the character. This is Police Academy 5, not an Oscar, trying to want to be Oscar movie. But explore more in a comedy sense is what I'm talking about. You could have had Michael Winslow as the lead. You did not need Matt McCoy's character. He brought nothing to the table. Nothing. And the gags just felt, in a weird way, this felt even more for kids. Like, this felt like a little kids movie compared to the previous 4. I mean, yeah, this silly stuff, but I don't know how to explain it. Just, oh, they're at the airport, and, oh, before that, G.W. Bailey and his sidekick, Proctor, Lance Kinsey, I believe the actor's name, they're going to go and order the kiss ass to impress the head honcho. I'm going to kiss ass to Lessard and say, hey, I'm a good sport. I'll be a good sport for this guy's retiring. Maybe I'll kiss the head honcho's ass even more so I could be the new commandant and secure the job. So Proctor calls, but he called the wrong place, and Michael Winslow answers, and so they give them the wrong info for the airplane, so they get on a shitty airplane. While our crew get to Miami Beach, again, Lessard, he's carrying his golf bag, he's dropping golf balls, people are tripping. Slightly humorous scene, the bit where G.W. Bailey gets there and goes to the metal detector. Michael Winslow keeps making noises. Beep, beep. So G.W. Bailey has to keep taking stuff out. I think they could have done more with that scene. And I think with other characters could have been utilized more within that scene and build that scene up more with comedy gags. And if you had like Steve Guttenberg and Bobcat Goldthwait and others, like Bobcat Goldthwait yelling and like, come on, move it, and Steve Guttenberg giving GW, there's a lot more comedy that could have been built out of that. So it's slightly humorous, that scene, but really, but not really. Before that, Marion Ramsey had trying to tell a guy. For those who don't know, Marion Ramsey, she's the lady who talks like this, she talks like this, and then she gets really loud. Don't move, dirtbag, that type of stuff. She's trying to get this guy to get rid of smoking on the plane. He won't listen, so she comes back with it's a fire extinguisher, but one of those that shoots out the foam in order to have him stop smoking. Other dads, what they get to the beach, Bubba Smith throws the frisbee and Proctor grabs it and flies off. Probably the scene, if people remember a scene from this, is probably the scene where there's a shark and Tackleberry gets a gun on the shark and goes, "Desist and leave this swimming area now, mister." I gotta admit, as stupid, as silly as that scene was, it's one of the few moments that made me go, that kind of reaction, I will admit. Because it was just so outlandish. Plus, I like the Tackleberry character. David Graff was good in the role. May he rest in peace. Dads put on G.W. Bailey. He called Matt McCoy a name. So Matt McCoy, while G.W. Bailey is sunbathing and sleeping, Matt McCoy gets some cream, suntan lotion, puts something on the chest, and you realize that it's Dork. So people keep calling G.W. Bailey Dork. He doesn't know why at first, then he realizes it. The actual plot, at the airport, Commandant Lassard's babe got accidentally mixed up with these other guys, and these other guys are jewel thieves. And so Lassard doesn't have his suitcase, he has the other guy's suitcase, and there's a video camera that has diamonds in it. So the jewel thieves are trying to get it back. Random gags, Proctor accidentally sets G.W. Bailey's hat on fire. There's a little bit with a karate instructor where I guess it's in there just so Michael Winslow can once again do the kung fu bad dubbing thing, which by this point is getting a little bit old. I had fun with it in the previous movies, but it's like, okay, yet again you're doing it? Like, there's no other creativity? I mean, that's where you're really running out of ideas. That's what it felt like in this. I don't know, people are like, well, Matt, you like part 4 and part 3? And yeah, I do enjoy them. I enjoy the cast in them. I enjoy more the banter between the characters. Even superficial stuff like the fun song, Citizens on Patrol. Superficial stuff like that. Here, it just felt cheaper. It felt... I know it wasn't cheaper, but it just wasn't that funny. It wasn't that funny. Other ones, since it's a police convention, they're asking some of the people to showcase their stuff. Okay, how do you hold back a crowd? And Marin Ramsey starts yelling at the people, and they step back and they accidentally fall in the pool. Tackleberry shoots at a shooting range, and he loves the gun so much he doesn't want to let him go. Leslie Easterbrook talks him to letting the guns go, but there's a fly, and you can tell it's an animated fly, and he shoots the fly. And then you get to your third act, the action bit of the movie, where the jewel thieves try and get the diamonds. They kidnap Commandant Lassard. Lassard thinks it's part of some type of game, or test, I should say, some type of test. Like, is it a bomb threat, blah, 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 and how would you solve it? So he goes along with it thinking it's a setup, like a test. And then again, the jokes, like, the bad guys have Lassard in an elevator, and someone farts. And then everyone moves to the side except the guy who did it. The guy's like, what? And you know what, that is the equivalent of this fucking movie, as well as part 6 and part 7. You're in an elevator and someone farted and you can't get out, and it stinks. Because it fucking stinks up the joint. It stinks up in your clothes. It stinks up your ass. It makes your ass quiver and pucker when I think of Police Academy 5, 6, and 7. Why are you raging? Because I know it gets worse. Mission to Moscow, anyone? Gotta save something. But I mean, the finale, They go up, the good guys try to get up to the penthouse. They beat up some thugs. Mayor Ramsey puts a plunger against someone's head. The big guy ran up the stairs. He opened the door, but he opened it so hard it did this and hit the guy that was behind it, slammed him to the wall. Some of the bad guys escape with Lassard and G.W. Bailey via helicopter, so that our good guys chase via airboats into the swamp, as if it's fucking Invasion USA, and they're going to Chuck Norris's house. And then you have David Graff slides his motorcycle and stops some people. I don't think Michael Winslow did anything at the end. Bubba Smith hits a couple people. I don't remember Matt McCoy even fucking doing anything, honestly. And then when Lassard finds out what's going on, he just immediately beats the shit out of the main bad guy, and then the very end, oh, we change our mind. You can be, you're not retired anymore just because. It's just this movie, I thought it was lame, it was lackluster, it wasn't funny. The gags didn't work. It felt even more... I hate to say the word titified, but it just felt... It was just bland. It was a bland, unfunny movie, and it really does hurt when a lot of the people are not there. Especially Steve Guttenberg. And you don't have Bobcat Goldthwait. You don't have Tim Kazurinsky. You don't have Brian Tochi. Then the people that you have... Michael Winslow could have been used better. You could have not had Matt McCoy's character. I mean, it felt like you got more of G.W. Bailey and Proctor's characters than some of the other actual lead characters. So... the direction is flat, and the only gags I will remember is probably the shark bit with Tackleberry putting the gun on the shark and threatening him to leave the premises. Leave the swimming area now, mister. Not too much stuff. So that's just my opinion. A lame, lackluster, lazy sequel. Thanks for watching. Take care. And next time I will talk about Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. Later.